Hello, everyone, and we are live, episode 25 of the Fitness Business Growth Podcast. I'm here with Jason Mottlee. How are you, mate?
Mate, I am good. Thank you for having me, brother. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Today, we're going to cover Jason's journey from successful gym owner, did a bit of coaching with gym owners in the past, to being a high seven-figure fitness closer, one of the only ones in Australia. Cue the intro, and we'll be back in 1 moment.
Welcome to the Fitness Business Growth Podcast, a podcast run by gym owners for gym owners. My name is Mitch, and along with Jamie, we are your hosts, and we will be discussing all the important things that you need to run a successful fitness business. From marketing to lead generation to sales to retention to staff and much, much more. So if you are a fitness business owner, then this is for you. We hope you enjoy the following episode, and we will speak with you soon.
And Jason, we're back.
We're live.
Every time I go live on my personal profile, I always freak out that I'm going live on my gym profile. And then all of our gym members hear how to increase your members' prices.
I've been there, bro. Actually, I have been there and thought, oh, is this in the right Facebook group page? I think I caught myself once. I was in the wrong one. I thought this is not going to end well. So I understand. I feel that.
Terrifying. Well, mate, we haven't spoke much off camera. We were brought together by Fit Tribe. You're a wizard at sales. I like to think I'm a wizard at marketing. So like my audience and our podcast listeners, I want to go on the Jason Mottlee journey from where you started as a personal trainer to opening your gyms, to then selling high-ticket fitness, and really just take us down the road of like where you started and what got you today. So, mate, elevator pitch, 3 minutes. Who are you?
Easy. All right, 3 minutes. Who am I? Yeah, my name is, they call me the big dog these days, which is an old AFL sort of thing. So I grew up before PT. I was like Queensland head trainer for a number of years, 10, 11 years, went through the AFL, doing strength and conditioning stuff, rehabilitation, eventually started my PT course, started my PT business, wanted to get out of that athlete sort of world, work with, just everyday people. Spent years as a PT, which we can obviously dive into a bit deeper. Years as a PT, did the fitness director, was working at Good Life, so big box gym, obviously. Decided I wanted to launch my own stuff a lot bigger than just my own individual. So I had to step down as the fitness director, obviously, which was totally fair. Started hiring PTs, working underneath me. And then basically COVID hit. We decided, why don't we go and launch our own gym during the middle of a global pandemic? Let's go. Let's just get out. So we did. We just took it. We just saw it as opportunity. So we did it. We then obviously got the gym where I am at the moment. But my main role really for years has been selling. And I've had very fortunate enough now since sort of October last year to be brought onto Sales Sniper, ultimately one of the best, number one sales companies here in Australia, and working for them selling, high ticket fitness and a few other accounts, which we can talk about as well.
Cool.
But yeah, it's sort of just a big journey of everything.
So I'm not sure you know, I actually played AFL for 18 years. I tore my ACL.
Yeah.
So you speak the same language. I was a decent centre half back, and then tore my ACL, and I couldn't change direction. So I was a big fat guy in the square. I had a great set of hands, man. I could mark a ball for days, but I just couldn't change direction. So if the ball wasn't put on my chest, I did not pick it up. But growing up in New South Wales, mate, I got nothing but gay FL my whole life.
Yeah, you would. Oh, I grew up in Canberra, so I played for Belconnen, which they're like a quaffle team now, which is really, really good. And then moved to Queensland, and then sort of fell out of it when I moved to Queensland. But I was lucky enough to work for Queensland AFL for about 10, 11 years. I spent 3 years working as a trainer for the Brisbane Lions as well. So that was kind of cool. Just done a few things.
Well, mate, let's start with your experience as a fitness director at Good Life. I mentioned last week on the podcast,
Sure.
One of the most valuable experiences I ever got was working at Fitness First in 2012 as a sales manager. And I went to Fitness First thinking like people love fitness. They're just going to walk in and sign up. And I entered what I would call to be a boiler room.
Yep.
And
fair.
was an awakening of like, wow, like this is how you run a gym. And I think that people that
Yeah.
miss the big box experience that might open a studio, they're in for a world of pain's the wrong word, but they're not aware of what they're getting themselves into. So let's talk about your experience at Good Life and what it was like as a fitness director.
Yeah, man, it's fitness is it's a really interesting industry. Like for me, I've always seen business as business, and I've never. There's like two types of people I think in fitness. There's those that are like they just see it as fitness. They do everything differently, and I've always been more business oriented and focused. And so for me, it was about like I knew it was going to be marketing, sales, how to put yourself out there, managing finances, basic admin, basic data tracking. So for when I started as a PT, I was kind of under no illusion that this wasn't going to be an easy ride, and I had to be able to sell myself and do all of that. So, way I
So
went.
just to jump in, mate,
And
what gave you that awareness before you started? Because most people just go in as in like, I like
yeah,
bodybuilding, I like bicep curls, I'm going to help Frank do a bicep curl.
a couple of things. Number one, I actually did a sales job. It was one of my very early sales jobs, selling FBOS facilities on behalf of Commonwealth Bank to business owners. So I had a bit of a selling background. I also studied like actually entrepreneurship through university. It was one of the courses that we had to take. And so I just kind of had this background and understanding of that's how the world works in business. And I didn't see fitness as any different to any other business. I was like, it's all about the feasibility of a business and how that works. And so I guess I was just lucky not lucky, but when I started, it wasn't one of these young kids that was, just coming off the back of loving the gym, loving training and being like, yeah, I could do this as a career. I'd already spent years with the AFL, years as that. So I knew I had the fitness skills and qualifications, and I just treated it like a business when I came in. So it obviously helped, like I become the fitness director within about 18 months, which, I got told was pretty quick in those days.
Can you please define what a fitness director does, mate? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, we'll be careful what we say on this podcast. But in short, basically, your job is to hit budget, right? If we be really serious about it, which is great for me as a salesperson, whatever. So it's hiring PTs to bring in the rent, right? And then ideally, the second part then is obviously you want to keep them so that you keep your budget up. And so you're trying to mentor them along the road.
See, I
It's a tough one.
I love this shit, mate, because typically we talk about group gyms more often. So just to be clear, big box gyms, if you work there, you have to pay X amount of rent to effectively work there. And your job as a fitness director was to bring in X number of PTs to collect X amount of rent. But then I guess the issue was keeping them, because if they weren't successful trainers, they'd stop paying their rent effectively.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the reality is they're independent contractors. So it's a tough one, right? Because you're also a trainer yourself. You've got good relationships with them. You're also kind of the middleman, right? You're the puppet for, the big box gym. And so you're trying to help mentor people and give them advice, but it's also like, well, you're not my boss and you don't have much authority over me. And so it was a fine line. You had to really try to find a way to mentor them in the right spirits, but also not come across as they're like, you're just a good life guy trying to keep us there and make our money. And I got into fitness directing role actually mainly because I just saw people struggling, man. Like, and I was like, I want to help you. That's why I became a fitness trainer. So I want to help people. It's why I sell, because I actually want to help people. So my whole thing is I just want to see people do well.
So one of the things that pisses me off the most, mate, like we can talk about NEPQ and sales the most, but at the core, like I still love seeing a good before and after. I still love having that transformational experience over a phone call, where at the start of the phone call, they're like, I'm not sure if this is for me. And then by the end of it, they almost have an awakening of like, thank you so much for taking me down this path. And nothing fucking annoys me more, mate, than the word sales being associated with being sleazy. Because at the end of the day, I want to help people, and all good salespeople, they want to help people.
100%. And I think that's the thing. I think there's a big misconception with it. Like, it's people outside of it. Like, it's very hard to find someone that I found that's genuine in sales that can make it, right? That doesn't want to help people. Like, it doesn't matter what you're selling, whether I'm selling fitness, whether I'm selling people getting into cybersecurity, Why am I helping people? Why am I doing it? It's to help people elevate their life in some capacity. And I genuinely love it. I love getting on calls, and I actually just love hearing people's stories and seeing where they're at and being like, okay, I think we can help you. Let's go. Those that are sleazy, I think, yeah, it still comes from like years ago, right? Like as much as it sucks, you know, real estate agents, car salesmen, they kind of, people go and they get that bad reputation. But definitely not what we do. I think particularly with fitness, like, it's a tough gig selling fitness, which
and I think people's instinct is like their bullshit meter in 2023 has never been better. They can smell They can smell it if you're not genuine, if you're not congruent, if you don't have their best interests at heart. And then, once again, this is another topic, but it goes back to like, do you actually believe in what you're selling?
100%. Yeah. And people are savvy, man, these days. It just doesn't work anymore, because if they don't like it too, there's a million other people doing what we do. They'll just go somewhere else where there's more options, there's more information for the buyers. So they're not, the power is shifted a little bit. Right. And so if you don't have that genuine care, like you said, man, one of the best things is getting off a call and someone saying like, man, I'm so excited. Like, thank you so much for taking this time. Oh my God, I'm so nervous, but in a good way. Like, those things just make your day. Like, not the money you collect. It's what people say.
100%. So fitness director at Good Life, you did a great job keeping the trainers there, helping them get more clients so they can afford their rent, they can change more lives. And then around that COVID period, you went and started your own gym, Ultimate Fitness Queensland. So what was that journey like because one thing, fitness director, you probably had a salary, to going to opening your own business, effectively no salary. What was that journey like for you, mate?
Yeah, it was interesting. So we basically was like, sort of January, February of the year that we had COVID, so 2020, and we saw some problems coming. I was again paying attention, thinking, "Oh, we're going to be in trouble here." Well, that's fine. Me and a couple other trainers, we kind of banded together, and we figured out that this was going to happen, and so we figured out what we were going to do if closures happened. And no surprise, March, whenever it was, March 22nd or something, they closed, and so our business took a hit straight away. Like, people just obviously losing jobs, closing down. Like, to be fair, like, we just bottomed out hardcore. Throughout that time, we kept doing what we could, like the one-on-one outdoor stuff. That's fine. But for some reason, I partnered with, me and Riley Stewart, who runs MGM. I'd been working with MGM for ages. And we said, man, we should open a gym.
Were you working with MGM at Good Life? Were they helping the ads there, or was it when you opened your gym?
So I was basically by then working with MGM, essentially in a sales coach role, helping other gym owners, learn to sell, very strictly just kind of selling. I was still doing the fitness director role. The fitness director role, actually, when I was in the club, you mentioned about salary. Basically, man, like, I was my PT business, we had 4 or 5 trainers. We were basically making 6 figures as a PT business, and I was getting paid very minimal as the fitness director. It was only casual, but I liked the role. It also taught me a lot about managing, right? So I was doing MGM sales coaching, and we were like, we should start a gym. Like, we really think we've got a strong brand here to do it, which we only train over 40s. That's our brand. So 40 plus, I know you and me, we love 40, 50 plus market, man.
Plus 40.
We love that market. So anyway, we said, yeah, we're going to do it. And so we actually managed to time our gym opening. Man, it was hell. We found a place, leased a place, did all of the setup stuff, launched literally the day that stage 3 restrictions opened up in Queensland, which was gyms. Gyms could open up. We kind of just busted our bum, time to perfection. We opened a shed with basically our flooring hadn't arrived from China. Half of our equipment hadn't arrived from China because there was a massive delay in shipping. And man, we just opened the gym with a concrete floor. We put sandbags together. We were just training our current clients, but bro, that's what we did. We signed people up, we brought people through, and again, eventually everything came together, and we just went through our 3-year birthday this week. It's our 3rd year birthday this week.
Oh, that's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
We actually
we survived.
we actually moved one of our locations to a new building, and we opened March 23, 2020, which was the day. It was the day of COVID.
That was the COVID day, wasn't it? Yeah, that Monday or whatever it was.
And we like, I remember 10 p.m. that Sunday night, Scott Morrison announced it. I thought, fuck, like, what are we going to do? And it all came back to that, like, within like 24 hours, we pivoted to online. But then we treated the closure as a big pre-sale.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, for your timing.
When we got the opening day, I think it was like June the 5th or something in New South Wales, we pushed everything towards that. And what we found too, mate, is because everyone stopped advertising, our business grew in COVID. So there's a great saying that there's, no matter what's going on, there's always a winner. Someone's always winning. It's just like, are you in the position to help yourself win? So open a gym, sandbags, no flooring. People need to learn that they don't give a shit what the equipment is.
Man, like I can't share that enough with people. I know mates that have gone out and opened, the bigger gyms, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on financing and stuff. And that's fine. Like whatever, right? No, there's no judgment, but people like when it comes to fitness, man, like our people come here because of like us, like the place, the people. They had no problems training on a concrete floor. Like we actually bought in some matting and some yoga mats and just kind of pushed it all together. We had sandbags, we had resistance bands. The reality was they still got to work out. That's fine, right? Like, I mean, again, contextual wise, 40, 50 plus, they're not trying to get shredded, so they're not trying to lift heavy, but we just did everything that we could. We made the sessions, enjoyable. It's a community. We know everybody's name, and it's all about that. It's all about connection and people. Yes, you still need to get results, but the reality is that people still need to come to your place to get those results. And if that culture isn't there, then you just got to look at someone's attrition rate and it says everything you need to know about that place.
I'm not sure if I ever shared this story, but Mitch and I, we were doing consulting in 2000. And after some technical difficulties and me sitting here like an idiot for a few minutes trying to keep you guys entertained, Jason is back. So we're going to recap straight back into the episode. The last thing we were talking about was the importance of just I guess the importance of equipment and how it just doesn't actually matter. So let's recap, mate. You mentioned you got a fruit friend, no judgment. They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, yet you were training people in the shed without flooring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no judgment. I just think like at the end of the day, it's like environment is everything. I use the word environment a lot when I'm talking with gym owners or anything. Is the number one thing that they can focus on is in the environment. If you have the right environment, people will keep coming back. Right, so you don't need the fanciest equipment, you don't need the fanciest or even the most skilled trainers, right, and all that. You just need to create an environment that makes people want to come to the gym. And if you nail that, man, you could go the concrete floor. Absolutely.
It's really, really hard for gym owners to understand that, like, being a good person, being relatable, caring about their family, what their kids' names are more important than the hip hinge. And I'm not saying the hip hinge isn't important, but we get so lost in, like, we all love fitness so much. We love our modality of fitness that we actually forget that we're dealing with human beings. And it is true that like the best sales and marketers have more clients than the best fitness professionals, so to speak.
Oh, always. Like customers, you're in the customer service industry, like plain and simple.
Yeah. And if you are a legendary coach and you understand the hip hinge better than any other coach in Australia, then it's your duty to learn sales and marketing so you can have the clients and not let people hurt them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. You have a responsibility, like, and even like, I think, I've said that before about people in the fitness industry, like, we have a responsibility to people, like to their health, to help with the obesity rate, things like that. Like that's our job. And so like we should be caring about people rather than just like trying to have this cutthroat ability of, unless people are going to pay me, stuff it. And I'm not going to do any work. And it's kind of like, I've always said, like trainers, I was like, you kind of have a responsibility to that person's health. You can't help everyone. That's not what I'm saying. But if you don't put in the right effort to learn the sales and marketing, then you're probably not having as great an impact as your responsibility should be.
Yeah. And the impact that you want to have. And it's sad, but the best trainers end up leaving the industry.
Yeah, of course they do. Always, right? Because of just the skill sets behind the business, the marketing, the financials. Like I know great trainers that have left because they just struggle to run a business, right? And often, like we said, it's not the most technical trainers that have the greatest businesses. Like you walk into any big box gym and you normally find like the most customer service focused person, outgoing, talking to everyone, the people that everyone knows. They've probably got the biggest business. chances are they may not necessarily be the most technical trainer in there. So it's one thing to know the technical skills, but it's another to have the whole package.
Yeah, and I'd put my before and afters up against any other gym owner in Australia. And I'm not the best weight loss coach, but we had so many members.
Yeah, that's it. Just volume of people like that you've been able to help. And, and again, it's like one thing, it's like there are some great technical trainers that might have a handful of clients that they've worked with, super dedicated, they've got great results, but it's like, I want to see the person who is able to take, everyday Joe, who really probably even hated the idea of going to the gym in the first place, didn't want to train, right? That completely changed their lifestyle, their routine, everything about what they do, and then has a transformation. And that trainer who has been able to do that over and over and over and over again. It's one thing to take people that are fairly already naturally gifted in a sense, right? Like arguing about the coach who has the best players on a team, right? It's kind of like bringing the best out of everyone.
Nothing I hate more, mate, than I only want to work with motivated clients. Don't we all?
Yeah. Who's motivated when they start, man? Like, that's what my first question was always like, man, people come to the gym and we see it all the time and they know they need to be here, but in the truth, they don't want to be here when they first start. Like, most aren't motivated. The everyday person isn't super motivated when they first start at the gym. They're the people I want, though. They were always the people that I wanted. Worked for me.
So, mate, you successful career as a fitness director, you opened your own gym, but in the middle there, you did a bit of work with more gym members, and particularly you were the sales coach for the actual gym owners. So obviously, I help gym owners with sales, but I want to dive deep into actually sales in regards to like, how did you coach gym owners? How did you improve their sales? And what was your process? Because I want to learn here.
Sure. Yeah. So I think I was really careful, I guess, with gym owners. Again, one of the things that's tough is gym owners often think that they're very good at sales when they first start, and their confidence oozes through, probably because of the nature of our industry. But also,
I sell 100% of referrals.
Yeah, walk-ins, referrals, man. And I'm like, okay, you're now going to be dealing with cold targeted traffic. That's what Facebook ads are. It's called targeted marketing. So often a lot of them have a serious realization. So I would try not to put them down too hard, because they like to start with. I could just come in and just start saying, well, I'm the sales guru, right? And just start smacking. But I sort of thought I'll let them learn as they go along. Honestly, when I first start, it's just about basics. First thing is tracking data, like, straight away. And I know you love that. We talk about that straight away. I'm like, man, I don't make any decisions based off how you feel or what this person might be thinking. I'm like, let's get data first. The first 30 days when they're launching ads for the first time, I'm like, we're just going to get through the month. I actually say, just keep doing what you're doing. I just kind of need to see where they're at as a baseline, because maybe their sales skills isn't as bad as it is, or they think they are. It's just that they never call leads. They never contact leads, right? Or their show rates suck because they're booking people 2 months in advance. So sometimes there's just a lot of little basic technical elements or structural elements that we can change. Once we get those down and the numbers are starting to look good, then obviously we start to dive into a little bit more structure from it, like a sales scripting point of view. Everyone then also wants to be like, I just need to get better at handling objections. And we all know it's an upstream issue. And so then we just try to chip away at making them a little bit better in those aspects. And it's not about making those gym owners world-class closers like what we've done. It's just about, hey man, if they can service the people that are coming through their gym, right? Even with ad spend, even if they're closing 40 to 50%, they could probably still see a decent return on investment, right? And then obviously they can go up from there.
So just to clarify, before you even touch on the sales call, the script, you're making sure that like their cost per lead is good, their cost per booking, their cost per show. We got people to the phone call first. And then
we just got to get people on the phone first, man, because so many people will be like, hey, we got like 30, 40 leads coming through. We're getting slammed with leads. No one's booking. I'm like, how many times you call them? Once. I'm like, well, yeah. So I try to implement the most simplest things that can move the needle the most, because getting better at sales in terms of like actually selling technical wise, that's going to take a bit of time. Like, I appreciate that, right? I would say most people, within 3 months, we can really help them progress. But honestly, there's probably like half the time I work with gym owners, there's a 20 to 30% improvement just sitting with the fact it's like, well, can you call this person like 2 or 3 times per day? All of a sudden they're like, wow, we've got 40 bookings per week. Yep. Awesome. Changing maybe what they say in their confirmation message, like just send a confirmation message, right? Like little
It's just
simple
little things. Like sometimes they send the confirmation message with the price in it. Don't do that.
Yeah, we just, like, and I know we'll get into it with the Fit Tribe business, man. I have done very little sales coaching with these guys in the last 2 months, and they're exploding, right? Like and we've done very little sales coaching. What we've done is admin back end stuff, fixing all that up, fixing the activity of the individuals, like the VAs, the sales closers, right? Getting in and really working on things that they can start right now. And then we'll work on sales technical abilities. So that's my role with gym owners when I first started, just the simple stuff.
Yeah. I feel as though I say it all the time, mate. I feel like gym owners, like, if they really ask themselves, like, what do I need to do? The majority of them know, hey, I should contact my leads more. And like sometimes gym owners, they are their worst client. I can't lose weight. Are you tracking your calories? No. Well, can you please start there? And it is the exact same principle. I do feel as though a good coach is just to point out, like, hey, do the basics really, really, really well. Because it's just like we have gym owners that come to us and they're like, I'm amazing at sales, they've got no leads, or I'm amazing at sales, but they've got leads. It's almost like there's just a shiny object. And one thing I see gym owners do, mate, is like the rise of organic marketing. It is drop a fire emoji below for this resource on ChatGPT. The gym owner goes home and starts doing ChatGPT. Drop a fire emoji below to get leads through Instagram stories. Then they're going through Instagram stories. Just work out the basics.
Basics, man. Like, and I think good coaching and consulting, I try to like consider myself like more of the consulting approach now, because I feel like with consulting, you have to have that ability to assess each person in a separate situation, right? Because like you said, some may be actually contacting leads like absolute fire, right? But what they're saying on the phone is they're just trying to sell the product straight off the bat. I've come across that where they're like, man, Jace, I'm calling everyone, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. Send me those triage calls. Instantly, I'm like, ugh, right, that's an issue. Man, you're getting on the phone with like hundreds of people. We'll just fix that and you'll probably instantly get more sales. There was nothing to do with like, let's say, scripting in terms of like actual strategy. There's no objection handling. It was just changing what they did on a triage call. So you get the basics right. That's probably 56% of your problem. Then we can go hard on sales. And you got to treat each person or each situation slightly different. It's like a sales call. There's still structure. There's a spine. But the really good guys know, okay, hang on, I need to chase this a little bit because there's a little bit of hanging fruit there. I'm going to go after that, right? But ultimately, every sales call that they do, if you listen to it, they tick off all the same major points.
It's interesting you say that, mate, because like the word consulting is an interesting one, and we chose that for our business in particular because it's the rise of $100 million offers. And if my offer was my offer is done for you everything, but Fit Tribe didn't need done for you everything. So like in terms of what me and Mitch do is we look at each business individually and like, well, hey, like maybe I'm not going to do this for you, but I can fix your no-show issue.
Yeah. And I think that's consulting. And I think for me, like whilst I've got a few things, I think obviously with sales, but I think this plays into sales. One of my strengths has been like what I've always said is like analysis. And I think sales, when I'm on the phone with someone, I'm essentially trying to analyze their situation, where they're at. That's the way that's my kind of philosophy on sales. So it fits really well. But same with businesses. I start talking to people and you just ask the right questions. You start to analyze and I realize very quickly, I think that's probably my number one skill set is actually being able to just assess where people are at and be like, okay, well, that's missing. This is missing. Okay, that stuff we don't even need to worry about right now. And that's always what you do in businesses, and Fit Tribe exactly the same. We've come in and very quickly I was able to look through things and think, okay, this is what we got to do, right? So I said, hey, reach out to JD. Let's get the marketing going straight away. So we did that. I was like, right, we're going to hire a VA. That's going to push our bookings next level. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. And again, it was all consulting structural stuff, right? Back end stuff. It was really nothing. Like I said, we've had very little sales coaching with these guys. Mate, like they're just going to have their biggest month to date, like ever. Like it's insane. They already have.
Yeah. So let's go deep into sales, mate. So in terms of sales coaching itself, when you were coaching gym owners, and something that I've found to be the biggest thing is it is just about shattering a few beliefs. First belief is people will pay up front. Second belief is you can sell people over the phone. And third belief is like, just because you wouldn't buy it doesn't mean they wouldn't. And if we can get past those initial beliefs, I do feel as though that most gym owners can be really successful salespeople, because at the end of the day, we care about the prospect. It is just simple things like they don't give card details over the phone. I disagree.
I'd never have that. Well, I shouldn't say never, right? It's like 1%. Yeah, no. And it's probably the person who legitimately probably has had their bloody credit card scammed so many times. And that's like, whatever. But, mate, well, do you want me to start with all three of those things? Where do you want to go with that? What do you want?
We'll start with just like, I guess one good thing would be I'll die on a few hills in terms of my beliefs. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is my belief. If you're not selling over the phone in 2023, you are leaving so much money on the table. And from what I've seen is, if you close over the phone and close in person, the percentages are really similar, but the amount of extra bookings you get from over the phone, even if your close rate drops a little bit, you still have more conversions. And nothing used to piss me off more than when I was selling in person. I'd drive to my gym at 12:15 on a Friday and someone would show up. But if I'm sitting at home in my office and someone no-shows a phone call, no skin off my back. Annoying, but like, and I just like, I cannot sell over the phone. I have to sell in person. That is the first belief that I try and shatter with some of our clients.
Agreed. Yeah, we do everything over the phone now, like Zoom or phone, right? Like both the same for context. There are different circumstances. I might do different things, but to be fair, I will close on the phone or close over Zoom. I just think as well, the most simplest thing that I used to say with this was that it's much easier like to have back-to-back set appointments and not get lost. I just feel like when people come into the gym too, right? They're looking, they're even you as a prospect, as a seller, I feel like it's much easier when you're on the phone, you've got half an hour and you've got Sally coming up next, and you sort of like can keep people on track. You can move through it. You can double down. If someone doesn't show up, I could move someone forward, or I could jump in and cold call. Whereas when then people are at their gym location, someone doesn't show, they go and twiddle their thumbs, right? They just kind of sit around and they do that. So they're not as productive with the time. And what you said about if you're not selling over the phone, you're losing money. 100%. Like I could do this, as you know, we do it from all over the world. Like I'm selling people all over the world here in my Brisbane office. Like, so I can go travel too. So, I 100% phone. Even if people are a little bit afraid of getting on the phone, when COVID hit, like we said, the same thing. We had to teach all of our gym owners and more gym members to start selling over the phone. They had no choice. And what's funny is what happened? They had to do it, and they started doing it. And then most of them never turned back. They're like, why was I not doing this from the word go?
Yeah, I just like the idea that this is amazing. So I haven't been into Breakthrough Active Adding Center, Breakthrough Active Cardiff since January 2022. I don't know where the key is for the gym.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Because I've just sold over the phone, and that I don't mean to sound arrogant when I say that, but just
no.
Selling over the phone. We started doing over the phone in 2019, and it changed our lives. And the majority of gym owners I know that want to have a hybrid component, if you can't sell an in-person service over the phone where that brick and mortar is there and that trust is there, good luck selling an online service.
So, and most people, I even think too, like the online service, I think I've said it so many times to some gym owners saying it doesn't need to be massive. It might just be covering like your rent's 40 grand. We'll just make that in an online service. Like that's a huge thing you don't have to worry about. And people go, oh, okay, like just look at it as little things. And so that stuff you're going to have to sell on the phone. So you could be, again, brick and mortar has capacity issues. Well, what are you going to do? You better learn to start to sell online, because otherwise, sure enough, you can go and open up another facility, but it's just easier to add on the online service, which, is what you guys do as well. And
so our goal in our gyms, and this is outrageous, is we want to get 3 online clients per week.
Yeah, I like that.
So for us to do that, we need to get 10 bookings. We have a 30% book. We're getting really deep for the numbers here. We have about a 30% booking to sale ratio online. We charge $87 a week for 26 weeks. About 20% drop off before 26 weeks. So we get about 20 weeks of payments out of people. So if we have 3 clients per week, we get 20 weeks out of payments. Our online service caps at 60 members, right? And we're happy with that size business. 60 times 87 makes more money than our fucking gyms do.
Yeah. And
Like,
60 is nothing. Like when you really think about it, the longer you spend in sales and business, you realize how small the bigger numbers actually are. Like 60 is like whatever. A lot of people right now, like, like I think the biggest thing I talk about this quite openly sometimes is like everyone's pushing the 10K per month online business, right? Make 10K. Like there's all these coaches out there that are like, hey, make 10K in business. And us, we look at that saying like that's one sale for some of us or a day sale is once you start to learn that 60 members isn't a lot, and it could be, like you said, it could be making more money profitable wise because it's just the scale, right? People are like, why am I not doing that? Like
yeah,
it's not as hard or as scary or as daunting as I think a lot of trainers, gym owners do think. And it's something that I think is only going to get more and more, right? Like the online space is still huge. There's still room for growth, but people want that more than they're necessarily going to want the gyms. I'm not saying gyms are going to die. Gyms will always be around, right? But again, that online business, learn to sell it. You're just missing out on so much money.
yeah. And the thing about I love my gyms. I'll have my 2 gyms the rest of my life, but you can use
Yeah.
the gyms to make a great income, to make a great wage, to live a great lifestyle business.
Yeah.
You can use that gym to learn the skills, to market, to sell, and then you just go one level opportunity up. And I think for me and Mitch, when our gyms are capacity, they've been capacity for years now. And the reason why we first ventured online and FBC is like we couldn't keep selling into our gym. Like
Yeah.
we were selling 50 people a month on a front end offer, and we were making more money on the front end some months than the back end.
Yeah, you're right.
And the idea would be is that, well, like if I can't keep selling front end people or the local audience is too small, where can we sell? And I
Yeah.
thought the world. that's where we can sell.
You're eventually going to run out of people in your local area to sell to. Like it's just the truth. Like you're just going to be like, well, we've sold them. Everyone here has done our front offer at some point. Where do we go from here? So it makes so much sense. It just opens up. And again, like it's not about making the money. It's what the money can do. Like we said, the flexibility, the freedom. Gym owners have got kids, those type of things. Travel, do all of that. Like so you got to do it. I don't see any problem with it.
Yeah, and money allows you to sleep at night when the country gets closed down.
Exactly. Yeah, because that could happen again in our lifetime. Who knows?
Yeah. So, mate, let's move on to your high ticket selling. So you've been selling online
Sure.
high ticket fitness programs, and I've done that too. So we've walked a similar path on our journey. Like, what is the highest ticket thing you've sold over the phone for a fitness product?
Yeah, so the fitness product 15K is the highest ones that we sell.
Can you repeat that, mate?
Which is basically
Can you repeat that? 15K, $15,000.
$15,000. Yeah. And normally like that's kind of like the high end one. It's like for people that are looking to compete in the WBFF stage show. The average one is like 9 to 10. Like I did a 10K yesterday or whatever it was. And that was up front. So it's 10,000. Well, the exchange rate, it worked out to be an 11K sale. It's 11K in one 45-minute call. So like making the money in the high ticket sales, like that's why I giggle a bit when you see people, being like, make 10K per month. And it's kind of like, to me, it's not an insult at all. It's just like, don't sell yourself short. We're doing that in one sale. Like there is so much room and capacity for people in fitness to sell, maybe not 10, 15K products. I get it. But at Fit Tribe, we're selling, it's 2,987 up front. The guys are slapping those nice and easy. Like we're teaching them how to sell them up front. And again, and I think Jake mentioned this on the show the other day. He was one of those guys that said, oh, we never thought about taking money up front. We never thought about doing 12 months. We never thought about all these things because, to be honest, the reason they didn't do it is because it was in their head that that's a lot of money and a time commitment. And we changed that philosophy and now they're just smashing it. So yeah, the highest ticket we sell is typically 10 to 15K, which is the fitness offer that I sell. And then I sell also like another industry that I sell in. Those offers are running for from 8 to 11K, right? And again, it's all paid in full. Like they're all upfronts. Like
so
can be done.
When you say the price out loud over the phone, when you first said that number, how was that experience for you?
Yeah, the first sale that I did at that price, definitely when I said it, I was like, holy crap, this is a lot of money. And, I think one of the first ones, it was just paid in full, and it blew my mind, right? Like I was actually like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And I sort of had to catch myself for a little bit, like, because over the years, you go from selling a $79 front end offer, and you sell something for 100, and then 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, whatever, and it goes up. But I mean, it was a big jump from selling 3,500 or something up to that 10 and 15K mark. Now it's nothing, because you just realize, like, again, like this lady the other day, she's like, oh, I could just pay that all up front. Like, because people have the money, and I don't know what her bank account looks like. And so when it comes to money now, I have just no emotion around that, because I just don't have the right to judge what someone else might think of that money. Someone else will be sitting here watching this podcast saying, like, fuck, $10,000, I could pay that up front. Yeah, but this lady did. It was no skin off her back, and she valued it and whatever. So it's hard when you first do it. There's a lot of like anxiety around it. I totally get it. But over time you start to learn that it's just money, and some people, it's whatever. Like,
just
now you just do it all the time. Like, it's just,
yeah,
you don't even think about it.
I try my absolute best to never look at goal forms when I was selling high ticket.
Neither do I.
I would deliberately not look at them, because like some people you
Correct.
think are home runs that aren't, some people that can't afford anything, maybe they don't work, but maybe they got
So-
inheritance, right? So
It's
it
in your
really
head,
is.
eh?
Yeah. So
Yep.
don't look at the goal form. Don't look at the goal form.
Nah, guys, don't. I even, my opening line sometimes is like, when I'm talking to them, like, no, I had a quick read through your form, but I guess just I go off, because I'm like, I don't look at it, because I don't want it to get in my head. I don't want any information that could possibly. And I mean, if you're having a bit of a bad day, like say you've had no sales all day, it happens. I go through that, and I read this form, and I just then get this idea of that person's going to be another dodgy sale. I could butcher that sale opportunity. So it's good for them to fill it in when we do triage process and stuff like that. That's cool. But yeah, that's a really good tip. Actually, you brought that up, because I don't look at them at all. I'm like, nope. That's a clean slate when I talk to someone.
It's just really like you keep casting judgment on other people. And I'd sell people over the phone for 3,000 that wanted to lose 5 kilos. And you think that's not a big weight loss goal for such a large number in my own mind. But like those 5 kilos could be the difference between her feeling confident at her son's wedding or not. And if the wedding's costing 150,
absolutely.
if the wedding costs 150, what's an extra 3?
Exactly. Yeah, it's amazing what the mind's very powerful. And so I try not to take any preconceived ideas, notions into my head. When I get on a call, I basically am just treating everyone like it's a clean slate. I don't know anything about you, and I just get curious. What's the issue? Why are they talking to me today?
So you're working with Sales Sniper now. For those who don't know, Sales Sniper is one of the biggest, would you call it, sales agencies in the world? Or like run me through Sales Sniper, how it works, how'd you ended up there? Because
Sure.
I love copies for closers. So Matt, if you watch
Sales Sniper. Look, the idea now is it's kind of like done for you as well. We want to do the marketing and sales, because if we have control over the marketing, we can really control the sales outcome. Right. That's kind of key. So we run the marketing, we have control over the marketing budget. And then obviously our job is to help close deals for these companies. So we have a number of different accounts on there. As I said, I do SMP, Sports Model Project, and I do Cyber. So 2 different accounts, which is cool. It's interesting. But yeah, that's how that's kind of set up in terms of like how I got involved. So obviously, when I was with more gym members, we had Matt come in and do a lot of sales coaching with our guys as extra, which was amazing. It was great for me too, obviously being involved in that. And so obviously for that, you're bringing in, Matt Ryder. If you don't know who Matt Ryder is, well, he was the #1 fitness closer. Let's put it that way. The guy was just an absolutely savage with that. He doesn't sell fitness anymore, but I'm sure if he was to come back in, he would just crush everybody. But I knew those guys. And so I just reached out to Matt. It was quite funnily enough. I actually just said, hey man, this was the time I was looking to get out of MGM. I said, I really just want to go deep in fitness sales, because that's where I know I could crush it. I believe I am one of the best. I just need to prove it. Right. And all of a sudden he was like, yeah, we've actually got a job. Like, I'll just tee you up with Anthony. And I'd known Anthony, met him a couple of times. Who's basically the account manager. He trains all the sales guys over here at Sales Sniper, 7th level as well, Jeremy Miner and his company. And we jumped on a call, did a test, and he was like, "Oh shit, I've got an account for you, which was SMP. Can you start straight away?" I was like, "Oh yeah, no worries." It's like, shit, I didn't know that was. I just didn't know it was going to happen that way. But the guys had seen me sell before; they knew I could sell, and so it's just getting into that role. And so here I am now, and I just recently got the cyber account, just as an extra account, the SMP account, closing on that really well. But it's just like with cyber, there's a lot of leads where I can call a lot of leads, so I can do my own bookings, so I can fill my own calendar. So I'm just doing both, and it just keeps me topped up every week.
That's an interesting one, right? Because you're so Sports Model Project, you're effectively selling female bikini models get into the WBBF and win a competition and be the next Hattie Boyle. Is that kind of it?
That's the top program. That's that 15K. Yeah, the vast majority of their clients, about 90% of them, are just, again, probably everyday women, 40 plus, that have tried everything, and just really need that female specific training, something customized, need the support, the community, that level of coaching. And so that's our sort of main product that we sell, or that I sell, which is really good. And then obviously we only take a handful of women every year for the competing aspect, which is good because it means they just get a lot of good one-on-one attention with Hattie. So that's the SMP product. And then the other product I sell is the cyber product. It's just basically helping people transition to a career in cybersecurity. So we help sell the course for that.
Cool. And I guess like one of the beliefs around gym owners and sales is when I was selling for women over the age of 40, I was talking about menopause quite a lot. And the question becomes like, well, how can you relate to these women? Like, how could you possibly relate to a female bikini model? How could I possibly relate to a woman over the age of 50 going through menopause? And it's just asking questions and being curious. And I think you'll be surprised if you ask the right questions with the right tone, with the right structure, spine, whatever you want to call it, they will open up to you. Because over the phone, they often feel more comfortable too.
Yeah, I agree. At the end of the day, like, the whole male versus female argument, people haven't gone through it. I mean, we're living proof. And to be honest, most of the sales sniper guys, I think most of the salespeople you've been around, vast majority of us are males selling to females. Like, I've sold females all my life for the most part, right? Probably very few males.
I hate selling men. I'm terrible.
Yeah.
I love selling females.
In fitness, I hate it. I sell males for cyber, which is a bit different story, right? Because career stuff, and the breadwinner and that kind of that whole male vibe, it's whatever. But that's just, again, it's just a limiting belief that people put on themselves as closers. And if you can't get through those limiting beliefs, it doesn't matter how good I am as a coach with my script and stuff like that. Like, I won't be able to help you. Like, you have to get rid of all those limiting beliefs. Like, you can sell anybody. What doesn't matter who they are, right? There are people who are closable. There are people who aren't. That's fine. But yeah, the whole idea of money, limiting belief of, well, I don't understand the situation, or I'm a male, they're a female, or cultural, right? There's lots of cultural differences. People buy differently, but you have to just be in a belief that you can sell anybody anything. So yeah, the whole women SMP, it's all women. Like, it's what I've been doing.
Yeah, I've got a question for you, man. I'd love your opinion.
Sure.
Do you believe that you can be a naturally talented salesperson?
This is a good one. I actually have been asked this one before, and it's always that thing where I feel like the best way I can answer is I feel like everyone has slight traits, right? When they were born, entrepreneur traits, sales traits, whatever. However, I believe that it is more the idea of refining the skill set. I believe there are people that have qualities that may be like high qualities in sales that may be better than somebody else. But I believe that I could take anybody as long as they are willing. If they are willing, I could teach anybody to sell high ticket fitness. Anybody. They have to be willing to learn, and they have to be willing to listen to the feedback and implement. Outside of that, I don't care what their background is, I can teach them to sell. So I think there are people who have natural qualities that lead to sales, but I would like to think that the vast majority of people that I know in sales actually never came from a sales background, right? They're just everyday people.
Couldn't agree more. And it's one of my another belief. Like, are you a natural salesperson? Are you naturally charismatic? And life isn't fair. We all have advantages. We all have advantages, disadvantages. Maybe you can't be the LeBron James of sales, but you can make
Yes.
the NBA. You can make the NBA. You can be still
Absolutely.
very, 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 very good. As you mentioned, if you learn the skills, listen to the feedback. Mate, one last thing before we go. Like, for me, nothing helps me more than listening to other people's calls, not even my own calls. I find listening to other successful closers' calls to be the most beneficial thing, because I just pick and choose what I like out of those phone calls. For you personally, like, how do you improve your sales? What is your go-to?
Yeah, sure. So I think, look, to me right now, my thing is I typically spend 15 minutes, 15 to 25 minutes every day just going through our sort of sniper and 7th level portal. So I have access to those. That's fine. If you don't, the point is 15 to 20 minutes of actual training. And the way I look at it is like an athlete. Sales calls are like the game on the weekend, right? You go, you play your game. Now, if you're not training throughout the week, then you're in trouble. So to me, it's actual training. That can be listening to calls. I love listening to my own calls, right? And I'd spent lots of time doing that. But the idea is that you set aside 15 to 20 minutes every day where you're actually training on sales, not just doing live sales calls. So that's what I do. It's super basic, obviously on top of all of our other sort of sales trainings and stuff that we have. But I think for most people, they just need to actually actively train, right? Just like they do in the gym, lifting weights. You got to train every day to build the muscle, get stronger. Sales is exactly the same. You just got to commit a training time every single day. And man, you in 3 months, you'll probably be amazed at what you can achieve.
Couldn't agree more. If you can remove some of those beliefs and then implement a training system like you do with your clients, you can make the MBA. You can be an elite salesperson very, very quickly.
Absolutely.
Mate, last question before I let you go. What is next, Jason Mottlee, over the next 3 to 5 years? It's the last question I end on with everyone. What is your plan? What is your vision?
Yeah, man. So like right now, obviously, we've got the gym that we're looking at, obviously getting that to a point where, so it's me and my partner, where that essentially is just an entity that's running itself. So finding the right people to take over is really important for us. Really, really important for us. And so that would be there. My sort of next 3 to 5 year plan then with my partner is to be able to have the full flexibility to travel and work. So Sales Sniper provides that for me. Obviously my association with Fit Tribe, that helps as well. We want to be able to probably spend we've kind of got like a 2-year plan where we can travel, we can move different places. I do full-time sales on the phone, and my partner runs the online side of things. And so that's what we're kind of working on the systems right now. And then whether we come back, we're still not sure. A lot of people have asked, will we start to franchise, branch out? Right now, I just don't know. It's something I'd love to do. I would really love to have our locations all over the place, because again, I believe they're one of a kind, being over 40s only. So we'll just see. We don't know sometimes. My problem is or not my problem. It's not really a problem, but I'm always looking for something new. Always looking for something new challenge, new direction, more consulting roles. I'd love to do more like what I'm doing at Fit Tribe, where I go into the business, help them grow their business, and take some sort of like equity share or something in their business and really help them grow, because I just think a lot of people can do that with the right support team. They may just not have a ton of money to throw at it. So I'd love to do that.
It's really cool, man. So the true digital nomad for a couple of years, making bank, and then franchising Ultimate Fitness.
Yeah, man, that's the plan. I think that's where we're going.
Cool, man. I really, really appreciate your time. I hope our audience got something from this takeaway. I think the biggest thing for me that I learned, mate, was just, once again, it's just almost reaffirming, remove some of those beliefs. You can learn any skill. You are not born with it.
100%, man. Yeah, you got to believe in yourself.
Cool. Thanks for calling, Jace. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.